It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Every notification, every like, every algorithmic nudge is a volley in a war you did not choose, but cannot afford to ignore. Social media is no longer a platform for idle connection. It is a battlefield where attention is the currency and influence the weapon. To succeed, you must treat every scroll as a strategic advance, every post as a siege engine, every comment as reconnaissance. The enemy is everywhere, invisible yet omnipresent. The algorithms that prioritize what others see, the herd mentality that dictates trends, and the silent influence of corporations, media, and public figures shaping perception long before you even register. Failing to engage strategically does not leave you neutral. It leaves your ideas, reputation, and potential influence as spoils for those who understand the battlefield. The siege of attention begins with awareness. Every notification is a catapult hurling your focus toward triviality. Every trending topic is a volley designed to fragment your mental energy. Recognize that your attention is a resource more valuable than any follower count or vanity metric. Guard it carefully. Decide deliberately what deserves your engagement and what must be ignored. The difference between being consumed by the flood and commanding your own strategy lies in controlling the timing and purpose of your responses. Choose to respond not out of impulse but as a calculated maneuver that advances your position, strengthens your authority, and preserves your mental energy for decisive action. Invisible armies operate beneath the surface of every feed. Influencers, corporations, and political actors maneuver behind the scenes, shaping what content is amplified, who gains visibility, and which ideas dominate conversation. Ordinary users often believe their decisions are autonomous, yet the architecture of platforms nudges behavior subtly, steering attention toward outcomes that serve unseen interests. Understanding these forces allows you to anticipate shifts in engagement, predict trends, and deploy your content where it achieves maximum strategic impact. Like a general surveying the battlefield, map the patterns, study the movements, and exploit openings without unnecessary confrontation. A micro example: a follower challenges your perspective with a dismissive comment. Instead of reacting defensively, acknowledge calmly, redirect the conversation toward your core message, and maintain authority without inflaming unnecessary conflict. The cost of inaction is immediate and tangible. Every hour spent scrolling passively without purpose is an opportunity ceded. Every unoptimized post, every delayed response allows competitors to occupy positions of influence, sway narratives, and capture the attention that should reinforce your authority. Recognize that influence is not accidental. It is earned through deliberate action, consistent messaging, and strategic engagement. Establishing your presence as a voice of reason and authority requires understanding both human psychology and the operational mechanics of platforms. Treat your profile as a command center, every update as a tactical maneuver, every interaction as reconnaissance that informs future operations. Weak framing invites dilution. Weak, I hope people notice my work. Strong, I dictate when and how my content commands attention. Weak, I react to every comment. Strong, I choose engagements that reinforce my narrative. Command the battlefield with intention. Treat your attention as precious. Analyze the movements of the invisible armies and respond with disciplined precision. Guard your mind as a throne, recognizing that influence flows from clarity and authority, not from noise or impulsivity. Your followers, your network, and your potential impact are shaped by the strategy you impose on your own behavior. Engage decisively, act strategically, and consolidate every gain. Every scroll, every post, every moment online is an opportunity to fortify your position. Stand firm, observe keenly, and advance with purpose. Remember, control your attention, command your world. It is better to be feared than loved. If you cannot be both, your mind is the throne upon which all influence rests, and every distraction, every fleeting impulse is a potential coup. Social media will test you relentlessly. It will probe weaknesses in focus, patience, and clarity. If you allow your thoughts to scatter, if you let your attention become a battlefield littered with trivialities, your capacity to command influence collapses. To dominate the digital realm, you must first crown yourself internally, asserting authority over your own cognition before attempting to sway others. Guarding this inner court is not optional, it is mandatory. If it, like a courtier, either serves your strategic vision or conspires against it. Filter rigorously, discard impulses that weaken your narrative, reject reactions that fragment your authority, and elevate only those mental constructs that reinforce deliberate action. Information is the currency of influence. The content you consume, share, and amplify builds the infrastructure of your kingdom. Every article read, video watched, or thread scrolled represents a brick in your fortress or a hole in your wall. If you absorb noise indiscriminately, you arm enemies with ammunition they can exploit against your clarity. Prioritize sources that sharpen insight, challenge assumptions in productive ways, and reinforce your strategic narrative. Treat your newsfeed and notifications like territories to be surveyed and claimed. Only the information that strengthens your understanding and advances your position should be admitted. Neglect this, and the throne becomes a battlefield for external agendas rather than a seat of deliberate command. Mental fortification rituals are the defensive battlements of this internal monarchy. Daily reflection, journaling, and selective scrolling are not leisure. They are drills in sovereignty. Begin each day with a disciplined inventory of thought. Identify what serves your long-term influence and discard what distracts. Use writing to clarify positions, rehearse arguments, and refine the cadence of your digital voice. Employ selective engagement to ensure that time online strengthens rather than dilutes your power. In one illustrative instance, a follower challenges your perspective publicly rather than responding with reactive emotion. Acknowledge the point succinctly, reiterate your strategic message, and maintain composure. Authority is reinforced through calm, deliberate control, not impulsive defense. Weak, I must reply immediately. Strong, I choose the engagement that reinforces my narrative. Weak, I let distractions dictate my focus. Strong, I govern where my attention lands. Every morning you ascend to the throne, survey the landscape, and fortify your dominion before advancing into the chaotic digital battlefield. Your mind's strength dictates your influence. A fractured attention cannot lead armies, capture audiences, or sustain credibility. Cement routines that maintain clarity, cultivate judgment, and protect emotional equilibrium. Let every decision online reflect the discipline and strategic insight honed internally. The silent victories of self-mastery will amplify your external authority more than any viral post or trending thread. Stand firm, command your inner court, and let your decisions radiate deliberate power. Crown yourself, command the world. Mornings are the first battlefield of influence, and the dawn is the trumpet announcing who will control the day. The early hours are not neutral. They belong to those who seize them with discipline and strategy. Every scroll, every post, every engagement that occurs before the noise of the day sets the tone for perception and authority. To dominate social media, you must treat your morning as a command center, a war room where your plans are laid and executed with precision. Preemptive strikes are your first advantage. Craft your posts, stories, and responses at calculated intervals, anticipating when attention is at its peak. Observe the rhythm of engagement, analyze when followers are most receptive, and deploy content that captures the early wave before competitors can interfere. Timing is not chance, it is deliberate action. The ritual of readiness turns preparation into power. Before entering the chaos of notifications and trending topics, you must assess the landscape. Review analytics, identify patterns in competitor actions, and note emerging trends that could shift attention. This morning reconnaissance allows you to act, not react, positioning yourself ahead of the tide. Every scroll is an opportunity to gain intelligence or surrender ground. Your awareness of what works and what falters transforms uncertainty into controlled strategy. Discipline in these first hours ensures you dictate the flow rather than allowing the algorithm, the noise, or others' timing to dictate you. A general who neglects reconnaissance risks ambush. So too does the influencer who ignores morning insight. First impressions are decisive. The early scroll establishes your authority in the minds of followers before competing voices clutter perception. The content you release first communicates your narrative and sets the hierarchy of influence. Deliver clarity, confidence, and value immediately, and the audience perceives leadership. Delay, hesitate, or allow disorganized output, and you concede authority to others who act decisively. In one micro-example, a peer posts a provocative comment aimed at undermining your early content. Respond with measured engagement. Acknowledge without overreacting, assert your perspective, and maintain control. Calm leadership in this initial engagement reinforces credibility and signals dominance without aggression. Weak, rushing a rebuttal. Strong, strategic acknowledgement that preserves authority. Weak, posting without analysis. Strong, deliberate, timed content that commands attention. Establish a morning cadence that fuses discipline with awareness. Begin with a review of your strategic goals, then survey the digital environment for openings. Schedule your output like troop movements, ensuring each post occupies a specific position in the larger battlefield. Let the earliest interactions convey competence, vision, and command. Protect this ritual. Consistency fortifies influence. The dawn is not simply a time, it is a declaration of intent. Control it, and you set the agenda for the entire day. The first impression advantage compounds. Followers, peers, and competitors all react to the authority you establish while they sleep. Your discipline in these hours reverberates through every subsequent engagement, creating a perception of omnipresence and intentionality. Seize the morning, anticipate the flow, and deploy your strategy before the battlefield is crowded with reactive forces. Own the dawn, own the battlefield. Silence is the battlefield, where the strongest commanders move unseen, striking without noise and conserving power for decisive moments. In the theater of social media, not every post, comment, or reaction requires engagement. The absence of action can speak louder than words, and withholding response can transform minor provocations into opportunities for perception management. Strategic withdrawal is the first principle. By ignoring distractions that seek to provoke, you preserve mental energy and project unshakable composure. Every unnecessary confrontation dissipates influence. Every calculated restraint amplifies it. Resist the instinct to respond immediately. Let the world make noise while you observe, plan, and fortify. Controlled absence turns your presence into a resource rather than a constant commodity. Periodically stepping back from posting or engaging allows anticipation to build among followers. Curiosity becomes a tool. The audience wonders when you will speak, read, or act next. This anticipation creates psychological leverage. The less predictable your engagement, the your influence expands. Consider the predator in the wild. By waiting, assessing, and letting the prey move, it multiplies the impact of its eventual strike. Apply the same principle to content and interactions. Silence is not passivity, it is an active strategy that commands attention without uttering a single word. Weak, heroic, to maintain relevance. strong, deliberate pauses that increase impact and visibility. Observation is your reconnaissance. During periods of stillness, study opponents, trends, and the shifting landscape of attention. Track patterns in engagement, note what content captures interest, and identify emerging opportunities. This is not idle scrolling, it is preparation for decisive action. A micro example illustrates this principle. A competitor launches a controversial claim aimed at your followers. Instead of immediate rebuttal, you observe, gather insight, and respond later with content that addresses the core issue while maintaining authority. The calmness of your timing communicates mastery and foresight. Weak, reacting emotionally to provocation. Strong, using observation to transform response into strategic dominance. Integrate these practices into a daily rhythm. Begin with assessment, retreat when necessary, and plan your strikes with precision. Let silence serve as the sharpest blade in your arsenal, a weapon forged through restraint, awareness, and timing. Do not mistake inactivity for weakness. Your controlled absence signals that you act with intention and discernment. In the digital arena, perceived power is as important as actual power. Every post, every pause, every period of observation reinforces your narrative and authority. Command attention, conserve energy, and strike decisively when the moment maximizes impact. The quietest move often reverberates the loudest. Silence sharpens dominance. Authority in any arena is forged by decisive action, not tolerance of mediocrity. Your social media presence is a battlefield, and every follower, comment, or connection is a potential ally or saboteur. Identifying saboteurs is the first strike. Trolls, passive-aggressive critics, and energy-draining followers erode influence through distraction, negativity, and inconsistency. Observe patterns in engagement and sentiment. Track who diverts conversations, diminishes your message, or sows doubt among your audience. Recognizing these elements is not paranoia, it is strategic reconnaissance. Like a general surveying the field, mark who strengthens your position and who threatens it. The strategic purge is your execution of authority. Remove or mute anything that reduces focus, dilutes clarity, or projects inconsistency. Posts that fail to align with your message, followers who inject constant negativity, and channels that scatter attention all weaken the strength of your network. Each elimination is a tactical maneuver, akin to clearing weak units from your army before a decisive engagement. Weak, tolerating every comment for the sake of politeness. Strong, selectively curating your network to maximize influence and cohesion. Use the digital platform's tools intentionally. Block, mute, or unfollow to maintain operational control and narrative dominance. Energy conservation underpins every high-level strategy. Cognitive bandwidth is finite. Every engagement with distraction is a misallocated resource. By removing drains on focus, you amplify creative output, strategic foresight, and the ability to engage meaningfully when it matters most. A micro-example demonstrates this principle. A follower publicly challenges your message in a passive-aggressive manner. Instead of engaging in a drawn-out debate, you remove the distraction from your platform and later craft content that reinforces your authority without reacting emotionally. This action preserves energy and communicates control. Weak, reacting impulsively to diminish influence. Strong, eliminating the source of disruption while consolidating authority. Establish rituals for ongoing network evaluation. Schedule regular audits of followers, comments, and engagement patterns. Continually assess which connections contribute value and which dilute it. In the digital realm, perception is as potent as reality. A streamlined, aligned network amplifies authority, enhances reach, and creates a perception of unassailable command. Every removed distraction frees attention for initiatives that expand influence and reinforce strategic goals. Your network becomes an instrument of power, responsive to intention and disciplined by selective elimination. Command your environment with precision. Let every action, post, and connection serve a purpose. Do not tolerate undermining forces under the guise of inclusivity. Maintain clarity, focus, and dominance. Each eliminated distraction reinforces strength, sharpens attention, and strengthens your strategic position. The battlefield of influence rewards those who act decisively and without hesitation. Control your network as you would your troops. Every removal a maneuver toward victory. Purge to preserve power. Authority is never assumed. It is projected with precision, like a general commanding his army before battle. Your social media presence is a battlefield, and each post, comment, or story is a soldier in formation. Visual armor is the first line of command. Use professional imagery, consistent branding, and a polished style to signal dominance. High-quality photos, a unified color palette, and deliberate design choices communicate control before a single word is read. Weak, random selfies and inconsistent fonts. Strong, a cohesive visual identity that broadcasts competence and confidence instantly. This is not vanity, it is strategic positioning. Linguistic weaponry is your next layer of influence. Every caption, comment, or story should be concise, deliberate, and impactful. Brevity sharpens the message, while calculated phrasing directs perception. Avoid filler, emotional venting, or unclear statements. Sek as a commander gives orders, clear, decisive, and unwavering. Each post is an assertion of competence. Each comment a move on the chessboard of attention. A micro-example illustrates the principle: a follower misinterprets your position in a comment thread. Rather than reacting impulsively, you respond with calm authority, reinforcing your stance with data and historical context. Observers see control, your authority is amplified. Authority signaling is the final instrument in your arsenal. Quote experts, cite reliable studies, and reference historical precedents to solidify credibility. Every reference acts as a shield and a spear, protecting your position while asserting dominance. Weak, casual mentions or anecdotal claims. Strong, rigorously sourced statements that command respect and attention. Each post should leave no ambiguity about your expertise. Use consistent terminology, demonstrate knowledge of trends and theory, and anchor arguments in verifiable facts. This builds a digital persona that feels unassailable, magnetic, and strategically positioned for influence. Maintain this persona with discipline. Audit your posts and interactions regularly, ensuring each element reinforces authority and coherence. Remove anything that diminishes perception or weakens your strategic presence. The mask of command is not superficial. It is the framework through which your network perceives power, credibility, and vision. Through careful curation, measured expression, and consistent signaling, every engagement becomes a declaration of dominance. Project authority relentlessly. Influence is a weapon best wielded with precision, not constant noise. Treat your social media strategy like a covert strike force moving through enemy territory. Timing over frequency dictates success. A well-timed post at peak engagement hours lands like a calculated strike, while constant activity becomes predictable, diluted, and ignored. Study patterns, algorithms, and follower behavior with the focus of a scout observing the battlefield. Recognize when attention is high and action is likely to resonate. Each post should be deliberate, each interaction intentional, creating impact far greater than sheer volume could achieve. Silent observations are your reconnaissance. Monitor competitors, track trending content, and understand your audience's rhythms. The quiet analysis of data gives you foresight, enabling you to act where others blunder blindly. Watch how micro-content circulates, which formats gain traction, and which narratives provoke thoughtful engagement. A single, well-placed comment can shift perception more than dozens of reactive posts. Engage discreetly in DMs or targeted discussions to influence opinion without public clutter. Weak, constant posting, hoping for results. Strong, calculated strikes, leveraging insights from careful observation. Micro-engagements serve as precision maneuvers. Use comments, replies, and small-scale content to create ripples that align with your larger strategy. Each action is a blade, each interaction a quiet assertion of authority. The micro-example illustrates this. A follower challenges your perspective in a thread. You respond with calm, fact-based reasoning, reinforcing your position without raising unnecessary conflict. Observers witness competence and composure, internalizing respect without drama. Every micro-action contributes to a larger pattern of dominance, building influence that feels organic yet meticulously orchestrated. Your influence grows when you resist noise and embrace strategic patience. Every post, comment, and collaboration should serve a purpose, striking where engagement is strongest and perception is most malleable. Let observation guide action, and let restraint amplify impact. Silence in the right moment becomes more powerful than endless commentary. Your digital presence should feel inevitable, like a predator unseen until the moment of the strike. Act with calculated precision. Algorithms are predators, and your content is the bait. Treat social media like a hunting ground, where every post is a lure designed to provoke, attract, and capture attention. Content baiting requires understanding human emotion. Highly shareable posts that evoke surprise, curiosity, or tension trigger instinctive reactions. Controversy, carefully framed and factually grounded, sparks dialogue and engagement without crossing ethical boundaries. Visuals, captions, and hooks must align with platform norms while signaling dominance in your niche. Each post should feed the algorithm's appetite, ensuring it promotes your content to wider audiences efficiently and consistently. Predictive warfare is your reconnaissance. Study analytics like a scout examining terrain before an ambush. Identify patterns in trending topics, peak engagement times, and audience behavior to anticipate what the algorithm will favor next. Adapt your strategy to algorithmic shifts without chasing every fleeting trend. Dominance comes from foresight, not reaction. Micro-content, when deployed at calculated intervals, acts as precision strikes, reinforcing your presence without oversaturation. Observe what resonates, what triggers shares, and what earns meaningful interactions. Weak, scattershot posting. Strong, deliberate feeds tuned to maximize algorithmic response. Leverage trends strategically to command attention. Participation should feel organic and authoritative, not reactive. Align trending conversations with your existing content pillars, reinforcing credibility and extending reach. A single well-positioned post during a trending moment can outperform weeks of ordinary activity. Micro-engagements like comments on influential threads amplify visibility while signaling authority without overexposure. When confronted with dissent or debate, respond with calm, fact-based reasoning. Observers witness competence and composure, internalizing respect and reinforcing your presence as an informed leader. Feed the algorithm with purpose, anticipate its movements, and strike where influence is most potent. Your digital hunting grounds reward strategy over impulse. Every post, story, or interaction is a calculated maneuver in the pursuit of amplified authority. Let observation guide creation, let restraint enhance impact, and let precision dictate timing. Feed the wolf to claim the hunt. Every move matters, and your social media presence is a chessboard where foresight determines survival. Map influence with precision. Identify key nodes, collaborators, influential voices, and engaged followers, and position yourself to control the flow of attention. Each connection is a potential ally or obstacle. Understand their tendencies, responses, and influence before committing energy. Sacrificial pawns are your tactical posts, minor interactions or low-stakes engagements. They occupy attention, distract competitors, or protect more strategic initiatives without depleting your core authority. Do not mistake activity for progress. Every post must have purpose within the overarching campaign. Plan content arcs like a grandmaster planning a multi-move combination. Anticipate audience reactions, platform shifts, and the movement of other influential players. Use analytics to track engagement patterns and identify nodes where influence can ripple outward. Timing and sequence are essential. Releasing a high-value post immediately after a smaller engagement can amplify perception, creating the appearance of consistent dominance. Weak, scattered posting. Strong, sequential deployment designed to strengthen position and maintain narrative control. Handle dissent or differing opinions with calm authority. If a follower challenges your perspective, respond with clarity and evidence, preserving your credibility while signaling mastery of the space. Silent observation of the board allows you to recognize emerging threats and opportunities before they materialize. Micro-engagements such as thoughtful comments or collaborations can shift perception, solidifying your position among peers and observers. Every interaction is a move, every post a calculated maneuver. Maintain a long-term vision. Build campaigns and narratives over weeks or months, layering messages to establish dominance in perception. Sacrifice short-term attention if necessary to secure a higher strategic advantage. Treat each follower as a piece in your broader plan, each engagement as a step toward control of the board. Observe, anticipate, and act with precision, letting foresight guide every decision. Master the board to master influence. Discipline is the sword that never dulls. Approach social media as a battlefield, where consistency determines victory more than fleeting trends. Daily creation is your drill. Each post a strike sharpened by repetition. Establish a content routine that becomes non-negotiable. Mastery emerges from relentless practice, not sporadic bursts of inspiration. Guard your time fiercely and defend your schedule against distraction. A single committed hour daily accumulates into authority unmatched by those chasing momentary virality. Treat every post as a practiced maneuver, designed to reinforce your presence and credibility across the platform. Mental resilience is your armor. Criticism, algorithm changes, and unpredictable shifts are inevitable assaults. Absorb them without deviation. Observe negativity without surrendering focus, reframing resistance as intelligence about the battlefield. When algorithms shift, adapt rather than react. Each fluctuation is a signal, not a crisis. Weak react impulsively to drops in engagement. Strong study metrics, adjust strategy, and maintain rhythm. Develop a thick skin while preserving clarity of purpose. Engagements that would unsettle others become minor skirmishes with calm authority. Performance metrics are your battle reports. Track reach, impressions, and interactions with precision. Analyze patterns to understand where influence strengthens or weakens, refining strategy daily. Use this intelligence to deploy content more effectively, positioning high-value posts at peak times and leveraging micro-interactions for ripple effects. Handle dissented criticism with poise, responds succinctly, preserving authority without inflaming conflict. Recognize that every setback is a tactical lesson. Daily review and adjustment forge a rhythm where each action compounds advantage over time. This ritual of disciplined creation, resilient mindset, and precise evaluation turns social media from a chaotic arena into a structured campaign. Commit to the iron will. Let repetition and foresight guide every move. Persist through volatility, refine relentlessly, and measure all outcomes without surrender to emotion. Let every post, comment, and observation feed your long-term dominance. Harness patience and rigor to outlast competitors chasing novelty or reaction. Discipline conquers all. Authority is the armor that shields you before battle begins. In the digital arena, untouchability is forged through strategy, perception, and foresight. Craft a persona that radiates expertise. Let every post, comment, and insight reinforce unquestioned authority. Your audience must sense mastery without doubt. Communicate with precision, consistency, and restraint. Avoid reactionary posts that betray uncertainty. Each interaction is a calculated maneuver on the battlefield of perception. When a competitor challenges your credibility, respond once with clarity and move on, signaling control without escalation. Autonomous influence is your siege engine. Build a network of loyal advocates who amplify your message, reducing dependence on algorithms or external validation. Engage collaborators who align with your strategic vision, and cultivate followers who internalize your ethos. Empower them subtly, offering content they can share confidently. Weak, plead for engagement. Strong, design shareable insight that propagates organically. Each connection becomes a node in a digital fortress, extending your reach without diluting authority. Guard the perimeter by monitoring interactions, ensuring loyalty remains informed, respectful, and consistent with your vision. Strategic immunity transforms volatility into opportunity. Preempt crises and misinformation through anticipation and transparency. Address potential controversies with calm authority before they escalate, framing narratives on your terms. Use clear, concise messaging to correct misinterpretations without overexposure. Observe patterns in digital discourse to predict points of friction and neutralize them proactively. Every challenge handled decisively reinforces the perception of infallibility. Master the rhythm of content, communication, and engagement to render attempts at disruption ineffective. Operate with patience, vigilance, and calculated assertiveness, knowing that authority is sustained through anticipation, not reaction. Command presence. Cultivate loyalty and preempt disruption. Align every action with long-term perception and influence. Untouchable minds dictate the battlefield. Authority is seized when the player becomes the sovereign. Every platform, every notification, every glance toward your content is now an extension of your dominion. You no longer react to attention, you dictate its flow. Your influence is a crown forged from discipline, strategy, and perception. Begin by synthesizing your previous tactics into a unified war plan. The throne represents your public persona, composed, commanding, and strategically displayed. The battlefield is your content ecosystem, each post a tactical maneuver designed to advance position and assert control. The assassin symbolizes selective precision. You strike only where impact is maximal, conserving energy for decisive actions. The wolf embodies vigilance and agility, sensing shifts in audience engagement, algorithmic patterns, and cultural currents before they threaten your standing. The chessboard reveals foresight. Every engagement anticipates counter-moves, traps, and alliances. Integrate these strategies with a single-minded focus, aligning each tactic with the ultimate goal of sovereign influence. Construct your invisible empire. Build a network of collaborators, advocates, and attentive followers who amplify your vision organically. Deploy algorithmic leverage by timing posts, optimizing formats, and iterating based on measurable results. Discipline is your unseen backbone. Daily creation, measured engagement, and unyielding analysis form the infrastructure that sustains your influence. Perceived infallibility protects your authority. Handle criticism once with clarity, then disengage, signaling confidence without overexposure. Autonomous influence reduces reliance on external validation. Your network and consistent output propagate your narrative, rendering algorithmic whims secondary. Preempt potential crises or misinformation by anticipating friction points and establishing proactive messaging. Each calculated maneuver reinforces your sovereignty. A misstep corrected with calm, transparent authority becomes a display of strength, not weakness. Understand the cost and reward of this coronation. Control, respect, and enduring influence are attainable, but they demand constant vigilance. Laxity dissolves authority overnight. Every post, interaction, and strategic decision compounds into either expansion or erosion of your empire. Maintain momentum through disciplined practice, continuous adaptation, and deliberate presence. Guard the perimeters of your influence with patience and tactical foresight. Recognize that your dominion is both visible and invisible. The perception of mastery is as vital as the operational reality supporting it. Command your network, monitor trends, and respond with precision. Each micro-action contributes to the overarching narrative of power, consistency, and unassailable presence. Consolidate lessons from prior battles, integrate insights, and operate with deliberate sovereignty. This is the apex, where the player transforms into ruler, the audience becomes subjects of influence, and strategy achieves its final form. Seize every opportunity, anticipate every challenge, orchestrate every interaction, and fortify every post. Sovereignty is commanded, not inherited. Discipline is the foundation of every empire, visible or unseen. Begin today by selecting a single ritual that asserts your authority over the digital battlefield. This could be a posting schedule executed with unwavering precision, a focused review of analytics to anticipate audience movement, or a period of silent observation where you study trends, competitors, and community reactions without distraction. Commit to it fully, as if it were a drill on the front lines of a war you intend to win. Every action signals control, every omission conveys strategy. The ritual is not a task, it is your declaration of sovereignty. Visualize yourself walking the throne of influence. The digital landscape is your court, each platform a strategic bastion, each follower a member of your empire. Enter with confidence, knowing that perception is as potent as reality. Curate your presence deliberately, balancing visibility with restraint. Do not react impulsively to minor provocations. Maintain composure, and your authority will remain unchallenged. When criticism arises, respond once with clarity and finality, then return to command. This measured approach reinforces respect and signals that your actions are intentional, not reactive. Establish patterns that fortify your empire. Daily posting discipline trains your audience to expect consistency, building trust and reinforcing your influence. Analytics review is your reconnaissance, allowing you to detect shifts in engagement, identify emerging opportunities, and neutralize potential threats before they materialize. Silent observation hones awareness, sharpening intuition and preparing you to move decisively when circumstances demand. Each practice, when executed with commitment, accumulates power over time, shaping perception and generating authority that requires minimal external validation. Recognize the symbiosis between control and visibility. Your digital throne is most secure when your presence is both commanding and disciplined. Authority without discipline is vulnerable, Discipline without authority is invisible. Merge both into daily ritual, and your influence becomes self-sustaining. Approach every post, comment, and engagement as a calculated move in a larger strategy, integrating lessons from past actions and adjusting for current dynamics. This conscious practice transforms reactive participation into deliberate governance. Command your space with precision and patience. Establish boundaries for interaction, ensuring that engagement occurs on terms that reinforce your sovereignty. Train your network, reward loyalty, and allow your influence to radiate organically through allies, collaborators, and advocates. Preempt disputes by anticipating friction points, addressing concerns once with measured clarity, and then maintaining focus on your strategic objectives. In this way, authority is projected outwardly, yet rooted internally in self-mastery. Walk this path daily, integrating ritual, observation, and discipline into a unified strategy. Your empire grows not through force alone, but through perception, consistency, and the quiet assertion of competence. Let every action be deliberate, every pause calculated, and every interaction measured. Step onto the digital battlefield with the calm of a sovereign and the foresight of a general. Command yourself, command the world.